All right, guys. So let's go ahead. We're done with our part on the business cards. Everything should be submitted. Um, Make sure you have that. That's going to be one portion of three or two other parts. So one of three assignments that are going to play a large role in your test grade for this chapter. All right. So the next thing we're going to be focused on for this week, we're going to look at flyers. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do for this week, you're going to look at the chapter 3 5 worksheet. You should have already done that. If you're at this point, make sure you complete that. It's going to make sure you're familiar with everything I'm about to go over. So if you click here, you go in, answer all of these questions if you have not done that already. And then what I'm going to be doing today is we're going to follow along with this, okay? How to make a flyer. We're going through this. This is the easiest way. You guys, if you're better at reading through instructions and doing it, you can definitely do it this way. However, otherwise, make sure you watch this video. I'm going to walk you through step by step if you're more of a visual learner and just to kind of go through things. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and linked in here, you guys are going to go ahead, click on this link. You're going to download this image. So it's going to pull this up. You're going to click that download button, and it's going to pop up down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Now go ahead, just because I find it easier, always double click that, and it's going to open it. Oh, opened up InDesign there. All right, it's going to open as a JPEG. You can see it pops up here as a preview, and I'm going to click X. I'm going to close both of those out. All right, and this is actually what we're going to be creating today. But because I clicked on that, all right, because I clicked on that, it's going to automatically pop up under my recents, and that's going to be perfect. So yeah, let's go ahead, jump back in InDesign. And this is what you guys are going to be creating. This is your final product we're going to be looking for. So now that we've started, we've got our download. Let's go back and I'm going to start you guys from the beginning. So this is the home page. This is what you're looking at, right? So what you're going to want to create is you're going to go under new file first and foremost. Okay. Now what you're going to notice in my background, you can actually see, right, what it looks like here because I have preview checked. Okay. If you unclick preview, you're not going to see that in the back. It might take a little bit for it to catch up. So there, I click cancel. So if I click new file now, because I don't have preview checked, you can see this is what my background looks like. So you ever kind of want to have an idea what you're going to be working with, click preview, okay? And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I'm going to look under my presets. And I know I'm going to do something. I'm going to print. So I'm going to click on print, and I actually want this letter preset. Now, before I click OK, everybody should have this in inches. If this is not in inches, you need to go back to earlier in last week's. Make sure you follow, or in chapter 2, and follow all of those instructions. Make sure this is your preset in inches, not in picas, or everything's not going to go well when we start printing stuff. So what we want to do, we want to make sure we have this correct orientation for portrait and uncheck facing pages. Because having this preview, I can check and say, do I like my 1/2 inch margins? I'd say, yeah, that's pretty good. And so now I'm simply going to click create. All right, now that we have our document and we're good to go, the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to want to add an image. So if you look, that second step when following the website is add a strong image. This is what your whole flyer is going to be based around. Well, to add an image, we're going to want to use a frame tool. So if you look over here, that looks like a circular tool, or if you look at your other options, you got polygons, rectangle. All right, you got two options. Just so if you guys do not have right click enable, if you hold down while clicking a left click, it'll automatically open these up, or you can just simply right click and then choose. We want this circle or ellipsis frame tool, the one with the X through it. Okay. Now, when we want to do this, what we're going to notice, I can make it to where it's like this. However, if I want a perfect circle, if I hold down the shift key, I can have, as long as I hold it down. Now, if I release the shift key, it's going to mess things up. However, even if I'm in the midst of it and I press the shift key, this is what's going to happen. It makes a perfectly uniform, all right, shape. So now that I have that, what I want to do, let's say that's the size I think I want. I can always adjust it later. I'm simply going to click File with that selected, and I'm going to go File Place. Because that's selected, that is where my picture is going to go. Now, I'm going to click Recents because I most recently opened the picture I downloaded. I'm going to click Open, and there we go. Now, some of you I've noticed, and this is kind of a pain, Command-Shift-C automatically fits it. Okay, I Command-Z to undo it. Well, you also have this option. If you look over here, okay, and sometimes it's hidden. All right, actually it's not right here. So it's right here under frame fitting. With this selected, I can have it fit automatically. And I've got different options. If I go back, I can toggle and show you guys. I can have it fit fit content to frame, or I can have it fit the frame to content. We got all kinds of different things. All right. Now, I'm going to go back to right here to my selection tool. And if you notice, I have this donut shape. If I grab this donut shape, I'm not moving the frame. I'm moving the image. All right. Now, if I move it and it looks kind of funky, remember I can go back and hit my frame fitting tool. Now, if I want to move the frame, the whole image so think of like a picture frame. If you move the picture inside the frame doesn't get messed up. It stays there at all the time. Okay. However, if you pick up the frame, the picture is going to move with it. So to grab, you can see how that little square pops up there on the side right below my cursor. That means you're grabbing the frame, and now you can move that as freely as you would like. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to kind of drag that. We're going to drag that a little bit to the side down here. And now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we are going to utilize the text tool. So I'm going to click off of this, and I'm going to hit T for text, or I can go over here and just simply click the text tool. And now I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to go all the way across the top for the most part. And I want to use what you can see in the website. You can either follow along or check out the website. So the first thing we're going to do is Turpin's Botanical Gardens. All right. Strangest species. All right, this is how they have it formatted, but just as a reminder, say we wanted to do it on the right side instead of the left side, right? You can use these tools, or if we want it centered, you can use these tools to adjust that. Now, let's make all of the text uppercase. Maybe we typed it in and now we want to do it. Well, remember, all we have to do is right here under our characters, under our text, all right? And we're going to click the all caps. Now they're all caps. Perfect. So let's go ahead, highlight this top part here, and we're going to change the size to this one. First of all, let's change the text. This is the only thing different. We're going to use impact, all right, to kind of have more of a bold text there, all right. And now we're going to change this font to 14, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change the font to impact, and this one we're going to change to 18. Okay, so that bottom should be a little bit larger there. All right. So now that we have that, we can actually, let's make this a little bit bigger. We want it to kind of stand out. So we can actually space out the text a little bit right here. This adds space in between the individual letters. And we're going to make the size a little bit bigger. Okay. I notice I'm going to make that actually 32. And I'm going to make that a little bit larger. All right, so let's go with something like that. Now, what you can see, it has this natural curve to it, so we want to utilize that. So I'm going to grab, once again, you see how that little square pops out? It means I'm grabbing on the edge. I don't want to go past my margins. All right, and now I'm going to use this to kind of move into that space. So actually, I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So I'm going to select on this, and I'm going to grab, and you can see, boom. Now, our problem is our picture didn't fit. Remember, we're going to go ahead, we're going to make it fit to frame, right? And say I want to keep going because I want it to kind of meet that curve. There we go. And so that may look funny. We may want to make our text larger, make it or move our text a little bit to meet that so it's not so far in the corner. Now, if this is where we're at now, let's go ahead. Now I'm going to shrink this again. Remember, it's okay to kind of play with this to get it to how you want it. That's not a big deal. All right, and we're good. So everything's looking okay. I have it going off the edge on purpose. All right, so now let's go ahead, and now at the bottom, let's add some text. So once again, I'm going to go over to my text tool. I'm going to add a big box here. Okay, so now that I have that, you guys don't have to add anything except this. So we're going to use a lorem ipsum generator. So if we were to, that's just filler text. So if you Google search that first one that comes up, this one right here, just scroll down, highlight, Command C, or right click copy, and then that's the only time you're gonna hear me say copy and paste, right? I always want you guys to find your own stuff. Now, I made the text box go up a little bit too high, so I'm gonna pull it down. I'm gonna select in here, and now I'm going to go ahead and you can leave the font how it is. Now what you're gonna notice, all right, see how we got some of these hyphens? All right, so with this text box selected, I'm going to actually select all my text. You don't have to, but I'm going to select in the text. You can actually, I'll just show you so you don't have to. All right, right here, this box right here is checked, that means it's going to auto hyphenate. If I uncheck this, all right, you don't see a large difference there. It actually looks a little more even. However, often you want to uncheck that box. So like, let's see, I'm going to make it try to look bad on purpose. All right, so let's see if it does it here. If we go uncheck that, most of our lines are more even except that one at the bottom. That's what that auto hyphenate gets rid of. So make sure you guys are aware of that when trying to line that up. Now, at this point, all right, our flyer honestly doesn't look that bad. We can hit W and see, oh, not if we're, all right, if I click off to the side and I hit W, you get that preview. This is what it would look like. All right, but what I want to do, I'm going to add a little bit more color to this. So going back, I'm going to use my rectangle tool now. All right, I'm actually going to select over here on the side. And I want to create a box. I want to fill that box. So right now, there's nothing in that box. So we're going to use I for our eyedropper tool. We're going to use a color from it. You can use this orange, but in the sake of this, we're going to grab that blue. And because we grab that, you can see there, it automatically made it that color we're matching. So now we're going to utilize this box in a minute. Now what you notice is it automatically gave an outline. So go over here to the stroke and just make it 0. And there's no outline. It's just a plain box there. So once again, back to our text tool. If anything from this video, you should know how to use a text tool. Now we're going to add March. I'm going to go ahead and type it all caps. Remember, you don't have to. You can simply hit that all caps button and change it afterwards. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to make this one impact as well. All right. And now what I want to do with my selection tool, I'm going to go to one of these corners. You see how it becomes that double-sided arrow? That means I can now rotate it. I'm going to make it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to grab it, bring it over here. I want to make it fit inside of this box. And now I'm going to double click. I want this to be centered. All right. So I'm going to go to my paragraph. I'm going to choose center. And now I'm simply just going to bump my size until it's a size that I think is good. All right, I like that. I'm going to get off my text tool. And now it becomes a matter of let's move some of these things around. So I want to grab my text box here. And I can move it in. I can keep it inside the blue. I can kind of do like they do in the picture, have it kind of half on, half off. All right, shrink this down, give some space. And now Command minus. I'm going to hit W. And at this point, all right, is where I would like you guys to do Command Shift 4 and take a screenshot. All right, so that is your first version. I want you to submit this. All right, make sure you do File, Save it to your desktop. All right, after you have your screenshot and you submit it in the classroom, what you guys are going to do, you're going to do 3-6B. Now, what you're going to do at the bottom of the web page here, there's going to be other examples that are going to use different shapes, okay? Create a different one. Create one of your own. If you want to follow one that's just like this, that is your own version, that is absolutely okay. But I want you to submit one that there's not a video for that uses the same image. You can use the lorem ipsum text, same dates, everything, include everything. Use your creativity. Create one. That'll be your 3-6B assignment. Both of these will be done. After that, you'll move on to the assignment that will count as your test grade. All right, and that'll be where you research. Then you're going to sketch out your own and create your own in InDesign, and that will be for your test grade. All right, if you have any questions, be sure to ask me in class.